Guys, it's me and my service dog Pippa Middleton. So I'm making this first video, which is going to be the start of talking about my journey as a person who dropped out as a witness in this giant city of Chicago police brutality class action suit, which is concomitant to the Department of Justice investigation. The reason that I have a little bit different role I would have had a little bit different role as a witness for Kavanaugh Law Firm was because I knew the City of Chicago Attorney Jordan Marsh, who had been involved in these cover-ups for years, including the Lacquan McDonald cover-up. He signed my paychecks at the Daily Cardinal newspaper, where I was an editor. And then on top of that, because Jordan Marsh was suspected of using all outside resources to do anything from getting people to fake other people in the interviews to also falsifying forensics. And I saw the falsified forensics through a man named Brandon, who works for the Chicago Defender's Office. He showed them to me in Cincinnati. I work for a company named, as far as falsifying any lab stuff and how Jordan Marsh could do this, I worked for a company named One Source in Lake Bluff, Illinois. It's owned by another University of Wisconsin alumni named Mark Manoli. And One Source makes Detoxify, the drug which helps people pass drug tests. I'm actually for drug legalization, but that's besides the point of this. We tested the efficacy. People took drugs, not me, not just smoking marijuana, heroin, most of the organic drugs, and we sent the urine results to the University of Wisconsin labs, where they tested the batches to detoxify for efficacy. The reason this is very serious is because the universities cannot do any research with Schedule I drugs without permission of the government. On top of that, they falsified other sorts of information for us, and this included the safety of a candy bar, which included ephedra, which is going to be marketed around 2002, 2003, when people already knew of the dangers of ephedra, and it was being used in methamphetamine. And this energy bar was going to be marketed to teen athletes. Now, if you know anything about ephedra, what happens with teen athletes who are taking it anyway was they would, their heart is more active when they're running, their heart is not fully developed, the ephedra speed up their heart and they would die, right? Full knowledge of this by the University of Wisconsin labs and One Source. And I believe the ephedra was not listed on the outside of the package, which is pretty questionable. Now, One Source was investigated during Operation Dream Pipe, so they've been investigated by the DEA already. And I'm sending this video to some people I know in law enforcement. And I know a lot of people in law enforcement because I worked for Booz Allen Hamilton. Not Burger King Allen Hamilton, not Black Affirmative Action Man Allen Hamilton, the same place that Edward Snowden worked. So what else did we find out? Well, the Inspector General and the police have asserted that Jordan Marsh, this attorney, is actually at the center of the Code of Silence, meaning that police cannot snitch on other police, more or less. And that attorneys enforce this. This is no dull when you think about it, because a police officer cannot go into an evidence room. An attorney can. The Inspector General, because Jordan Marsh did all of this stuff with outside resources, suspects that Marsh used fellow people from the University of Wisconsin-Madison newspaper, the Daily Cardinal, to not only assist with the cover-up, but to possibly make sure certain stories were not published. And on top of that, I was one of the victims of Joseph Frugoli, and these people said a bunch of libelous things about my disability, which again I found out because I work for Booz Allen Hamilton, and I have the libelous emails, and we'll be filing libel suits. And in this honeypot, by the way, we caught Juan Perez Jr. of the Chicago Tribune trying to set up stealing top secret information. For those of you who are supporters of Chelsea Manning, this is partially why Chelsea got free, because I shared this information with an attorney who was fighting to free Chelsea Manning, an attorney I know through Occupy DC, and we started this because I got an email which said that I would be redeemed from the stuff that was said about me in these emails. I'll talk about what was specifically said in a totally another video. If I help someone from one of the two Madison newspapers, the Daily Cardinal or the Badger Herald, if I help them leak information. And part of, I'm going to talk about why that's particularly important to Chelsea Manning in another video too. But here's the long and short of it. I need to get my life back. The City Inspector General has told me that somebody, most likely Jordan Marsh, has written a letter that said that the city of Chicago was going to give me housing in exchange for dropping out. I really need accessible housing. I'm in a situation where my health is declining, according to my doctor in Los Angeles. And then someone else wrote letters to Social Security. I'm on Social Security disability, and I literally cannot walk. There is my wheelchair. I don't know, if I don't get my check next month, I don't know how I'm going to eat. I have food for Pippa, but I don't know how long. And it's just really incorrigible that someone would write letters to Social Security disability like that. And if this is, we have the resources to find out who this is, and I'm just going to tell you what the end game is with this. Talking to a number of police departments, is that Booz Allen Hamilton would be getting the contract to do a national police training and police reform template, right? So you have some pretty big players involved in that, if, to get the information that we want to get. And Jordan Marsh is also suspected. The City Inspector General told me that he collaborated with Anita Alvarez in trying to frame Rahm Emanuel for all this stuff. So you guys can decide who you're up against. But it's just incorrigible that, a disabled person and a disabled veteran, you would do stuff to keep them from eating, writing letters to Social Security disability. And you guys are supposed to be liberals. Dan Weber yelling about Hillary, Todd Hansen of The Onion. These are people who I'm naming people who are involved in this. These are names that went to the City Inspector General's office, who worked with Jordan Marsh. This is why people don't vote for liberals, because of stuff like this. The last part of this that is important to the case is the editor to follow me at the University of Wisconsin newspaper was Nathan Brackett, who worked for Rolling Stone at the very time that Rolling Stone falsified all those things about the University of Virginia. If you didn't know, the University of Wisconsin has been under investigation 3 times for covering up rapes. This information about Nathan Brackett, I also shared with the University of Virginia lawyers during the appeal. It's strange that Brackett would make up something about another university, when not only his university is in trouble, the head of the Daily Cardinal Alumni Association, Tony Sansoni, was accused of raping a woman for the Associated Students of Madison. I'm going to tell Tony something that he doesn't know. That woman came to me and another woman named Hannah Thorne in the middle of the night after leaving the Memorial Union from ASM to tell us that she was raped by you. You dismissed her as crazy, which is how all rape victims are dismissed. I don't know if it's true or not. But to the City Inspector General, it kind of seems fishy that something would want to be planted on another university when someone that is part of this newspaper, in the Alumni Association, if journalists started digging, might find out what happened. But listen, I'm appealing people this. I'm going to crowdfund for this, but I'm reclaiming my life.